May 6, 2026, the Winter Olympics grand opening kicks off in Milan-Cortina, Italy. The events are coming fast, furious, and absolutely electric, but as the schedule tightens toward the grand final, the world holds its breath for the main event, the women's figure skating gold medal final. The tension is explosive. Under the blinding glare of the arena lights, all eyes lock on to one name, Alysa Liu, Team USA. At just 20 years old, she wears a sweet smile, but her eyes burn with a calm, rare confidence. On the ice, she is a technical machine, executing high-difficulty elements with a solid, unshakable foundation. Every movement flows into the next, smooth and natural. But it is not just about mechanics. Her command of the rhythm is masterful. One moment she explodes with power, the next she pulls back with delicate grace. From the stratospheric height of her jumps to the precision of her spins, every step is calculated perfection. It is a performance that screams maturity far beyond her years. The judges see it. The crowd feels it. Thunderous applause fills the stadium. Then, the moment of truth arrives. The final musical note fades, and the scoreboard lights up. The stands are up. Alysa has done it, obliterating the competition to seize the prestigious gold medal. Back home, American fans are choked up with emotion. It has been over 20 years since the U.S. crowned a champion in women's singles. This isn't just a personal victory. It is a historic milestone etched in stone. But behind the glitter and the gold lies a backstory that is anything but ordinary. The young champion carries a mixed heritage. Her father is Chinese, and she bears the Chinese name Liu Mixin. At just 13, she shattered records to become the youngest national champion in U.S. history. Fast forward to the Beijing Games in 2022. She placed 6th. Shortly after, she snatched the bronze medal at the World Championships in 2022. The world was at her feet, yet she dropped a bombshell. She was retiring. The decision left everyone stunned. Was the story of this prodigy over before it really began? For 2 years, Alysa vanished from the limelight, but when she returned, she was a force of nature. She stormed back to win world gold and swept the Grand Prix Final, crushing every rival in her path. This miraculous resurrection only made her a bigger legend in the eyes of the fans. But as her star rose, the mystery of her origins began to unravel. A look at her birth certificate revealed a stunning detail. The section from mother was completely blank. From her very first breath, the girl standing on top of the world today was destined for a life unlike any other. Perhaps that is why her path has never followed the rules. Welcome back, everyone. You are tuning into a true life mystery. And I am Vunam. To understand Alysa Liu's brilliance, we have to trace the roots of her father, Arthur Liu. Born Liuzhen in Sichuan province in 1984, he graduated from South China Normal University and taught English, but his destiny lay far beyond the classroom. He pursued a master's at Sun Yat-sen University. By 1989, as president of the Guangzhou Student Federation, he found himself at the heart of the June 4th movement. Yes, the Tiananmen Square event that put a target on his back. To evade capture, Liu joined Operation Yellowbird, slipping into Hong Kong before securing political asylum in the U.S. From a fugitive on the run, he had to rebuild his life from zero. He crushed law school in California, passed the bar, and opened his own firm in Oakland, specializing in immigration law. His expertise paid off, and business boomed. He married, but the union didn't last, ending in divorce a few years later. During the marriage, they opted for a different path to parenthood, surrogacy. He is the father of 5 children. The embryos were chosen with extreme care from an egg bank. Rumor has it Alysa's biological donor hailed from Eastern Europe. That explains her striking, sharp features. But genetics are only half the story. Arthur Liu's life as a single dad was a grueling marathon. By day, he fought legal battles. By night, he was the drill sergeant, monitoring homework and putting food on the table. Weekends were spent behind the wheel, shuttling kids to endless training sessions. As the eldest, Alysa shouldered the weight of responsibility from the start. Her younger sister, once a skating prospect herself, pivoted to volleyball and soccer. Then there are the 3 younger siblings, including a set of twins. Today, they are all blazing their own trails. One spins on the ice, another sprints on the field, and the third dominates in the classroom. For a father, the ultimate peace of mind comes from seeing all 5 children thrive in their own arenas. The media once captured the family together. It didn't look like a casual picnic. It looked like an elite squad reporting for boot camp. So we have to ask, was it winning the genetic lottery, or did Arthur Liu possess a secret weapon? The answer lies in the shrill ring of an alarm clock at 4:30. While the California sky was still pitch black and most kids were deep in dreamland, Alysa was already up, In those quiet, pre-dawn hours, the discipline of a champion was being forged. Every single morning, before the sun even thought about rising, her grind began. She helped prep breakfast, dressed her siblings, and packed school bags. Only when the house was in order did she throw her skate bag over her shoulder and rush to the rink. It sounds exhausting, borderline cruel, but Alysa never complained. She first stepped onto the ice at age 5. Arthur had taken her to a figure skating show. She sat there, mesmerized, eyes glued to the performers. She was hooked. The moment they got home, she begged to learn, seeing that fire in her eyes. Arthur didn't hesitate. The very next day, he signed her up. From that second on, Alysa's destiny was sealed to the ice. 2 to 3 hours of practice at dawn, catching up on schoolwork at lunch, more training in the evening and at night, helping siblings with homework and reading bedtime stories to the youngest. By the time she could finally crash, the clock was already pushing 9 at night. But at 4:30 the next morning, that alarm screamed again. It was a brutal cycle, repeating day after day, year after year. People would ask if she was exhausted. She'd just shrug and say she was used to it. Was it miserable? She'd tell them. That's the job description for a skater. What she didn't mention was the one thing that set her apart. While the other kids had a mom waiting by the rink, she was out there alone. But her father, Arthur, never hid the truth about her surrogacy. He believed secrets bred shame, while the truth gave you armor. So, when Alysa was just 9, he sat her down with a copy of the New York Times and read an article about assisted reproduction with her, point blank. After they finished, he told her something that would stick with her forever. You aren't some random spare part. You are a child the world was waiting for. You were chosen. Your life is a miracle built on science, law, and love. Nothing to hide. Those words changed everything. From that moment on, Alysa never felt less than because she didn't have a biological mother. She faced the prying eyes and the gossip with total composure. She told the world she never felt a void because her father's love filled every corner of her life. And that emotional ironclad armor translated directly into dominance on the ice. In 2016, at just 11 years old, she crushed the intermediate nationals, becoming the youngest champion in the history of the division. 2 years later, she swept the junior title, but the real game changer came in 2019. At 13, she stepped onto the biggest stage in the country, the Youth Figure Skating Championships. She was surrounded by veterans, most of them in their 20s. Amidst these seasoned pros, Alysa looked like a kid who had wandered into the wrong arena. Before the music started, nobody put their money on her. After all, she was just a little girl. But when the scoreboard flashed 217.51, the crowd went dead silent before erupting. Alysa had taken the gold, becoming the youngest women's champion in history. It's a record that still stands today. The American media immediately went into a frenzy. They dubbed her the Phenom on ice, a teenage genius, the future of the sport. Some even called her the next Michelle Kwan, ready to rule the rink. But what made Alysa different wasn't just her age. Her technical difficulty was light years ahead of her peers. Back in 2018 at the Asian Open, she nailed a triple axel. That's a move so difficult that, aside from Japan's Reika Kira and the Russian squad, almost no woman on earth could land it consistently. She did T-stop there. She went for the quads. At a regional event, she threw 2 of them. She stuck the first one, crashed on the second, but immediately dusted off her knees and kept skating. That moment proved she didn't just of talent. She had serious grit. The U.S. figure skating world saw her as their savior. Before she showed up, the American ladies program had been dormant for way too long. While the Russian machine was sweeping every podium in sight, the Americans were stuck watching from the sidelines. Finally, they had a contender who could actually fight back. The whole country held its breath, waiting for her to grow up and conquer the world. Fast forward to 2022. Alysa was 16, the baby of the entire U.S. Olympic delegation in Beijing. The pressure was suffocating. She finished 8th in the short program, 7th in the free skate, and 6th overall. No medal for a 16-year-old at her first Olympics. That performance was objectively incredible. In the shark tank of the Olympics, breaking the top 10 proves you're elite, but with high hype comes heavy scrutiny. Critics started chirping that she was washing out, her technique was slipping, or her head wasn't in the game. Alysa didn't clap her back. She quietly went to the World Championships, snagged a bronze medal, and silenced the noise. But just when everyone thought she was gearing up for the next run, she dropped a bombshell that shook the sport to its core. She was retiring. Was it injuries, the pressure, family drama? The rumors flew, but Alysa didn't offer any explanations. She simply posted on Instagram that she had hit every goal she set for herself on the ice. It was time for a new chapter, family, and college. Just like that, she traded her skates for textbooks at UCLA, majoring in psychology. The Ice Princess became a regular college student. No competitions, no grueling training, no press junkets. She traveled with friends, hit the mall, watched movies, and finally lived like a normal teenager. Later, in an interview, she said something that stopped people in their tracks. "That was the happiest time of my life." Turns out, happiness wasn't standing on a podium holding a trophy or breaking records to the roar of a crowd. It was walking away. That confession revealed the brutal, invisible weight of expectation and exhaustion that had been crushing her while the world cheered. To understand why she walked away, you have to look at the price tag. Figure skating is a financial incinerator. Ice time, coaches, choreographers, costumes, travel. You were looking at tens of thousands of dollars a year just as a starting point. For an elite athlete at her level, that number skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands. To keep Alysa on the path to greatness, Arthur Liu burned through an estimated $1 million. But the money was just paper. The real cost, the terrifying cost, was the time she could never get back. She laced up her first skates at 5, 7 days a week. The grind never stopped. By 10, traditional school was trash canned for homeschooling to maximize her ice time. That meant 0 weekends, 0 holidays, 0 time to just be a kid. While her peers were at the mall or chasing crushes, she was freezing in a rink, drilling technique until her muscles screamed. The tragedy was that Alysa is a total extrovert. She thrives on people. She was starving for connection. The suffocation wasn't just the physical workload, it was the total lack of agency. Her life was a script written by strangers. Someone else choreographed the routine. Someone else picked the tracks. Someone else stitched the sequins. She was just the robot executing the code. And beyond the athletic pressure, a darker shadow loomed over her career. Right after the Beijing qualifiers, her father dropped a bombshell to the Western press. While Alysa was suiting up for Team USIS, he got anonymous calls demanding passport details. Then FBI stepped in, confirming the Chinese government had been tracking the family for years. This spy novel drama unfolded right before the opening ceremony. He was legitimately terrified to put his daughter on that plane. On camera, she was the golden child. Off camera, she was a teenager being crushed by the weight of the world. That pressure cooker exploded right around the Beijing Olympics. She caught COVID-19, forced to scratch from the U.S. Championships, barely recovered. She was shoved onto a flight to China. She wasn't at 100%. The performance was decent, but nowhere near the standard she held herself to. She managed to snag a world bronze later, and then, holding that medal, she made a move nobody saw coming. At 17, Alysa Liu mic dropped. She retired. She hung up the skates to go shopping, hit parties, make friends, and actually see the world. Stuff that's basic for everyone else was a revelation for her. Turns out, you can live a life without waking up at 4:30 in the morning panic about a triple XL. For 2 years, she finally exhaled. But the ice never really let her go. Late 2023, a random trip changed the game. She was skiing with friends, bombing down a slope, the wind in her face, the speed, the danger. It woke the beast. The dopamine, the adrenaline, the spiking heart rate. It all came rushing back. She stood there in the snow, stunned. That night, sleep was impossible. One thought cut through the noise. She wanted back in, but not for her dad. Not for the judges, for herself. She decided to unretire. The world was shocked. The first person to push back, her old coach, Philip. They argued for 2.5 hours. His points were solid. 2 years off is suicide in this sport. Her body had changed. Her technique would be rusty, and the women's field had only gotten deadlier. "What makes you think you can still fight?" he asked. She looked him in the eye and said, "Because IV decided." He saw it then. Before, she skated because she had to, because of expectations. Now she was skating because she needed to. That shift in mindset is the difference between good and great. Philip nodded. "All right, I'm in." In 2024, at 19 years old, Alysa officially announced her return, and she was a completely different animal. In the old days, she worked hard, but you could smell the burnout. Now, she hits the rink 3 times a week, 8 hours of high-intensity hell, purely on her own dime. Her coach said her eyes changed. They used to look dutiful. Now they looked like they wanted to conquer the world. She took the wheel. She picked the music. She designed the look. She built the choreography. That ownership translated instantly to the scoreboard. At the 2025 U.S. Championships, she posted a 76.36 in the short program. The message was clear: the queen is back. Then came the 2025 World Championships. First big test. She crushed the short with 74.56, dominated the free skate with 148.39, and took gold with 222.97. She smashed her personal best across the board. Short, free, and total. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. And because it was her choice, that gold weighed heavier than anything she'd won before. It was historic too. Before Alysa stormed back, the U.S. women had touched a world title in 19 years. From 2006 to 2025, a massive drought. She ended it single-handedly. The American media machine went into overdrive. Her name was everywhere, trending on every platform. But inside the hype storm, Alysa stayed cool. The world gold was just the appetizer. The main course was the Winter Olympics. Time moved fast. February 2026, the Milan Games officially kicked off. Alysa's first battleground, the team event. In this format, 4 disciplines, men's, women's pairs, and ice dance, clash to put points on the board for their country. Alysa takes the ice representing Team USA for the short program. The second the music hits, she zones out everything else and enters her own world. She chose Promise by the Icelandic Chinese artist Laufey, a haunting, heartbreaking melody. Every move she makes is a perfect blend of gentle elegance and raw power. She nails the triple axel triple toe combination, clean, sharp, absolutely flawless. The score comes in at 74.90. That puts her in second place and locks in 9 massive points for the US. The team race is getting insanely intense. It's a dogfight between the US, Japan, and Italy. On the final day, the quad guard Ilya Malinin faces crushing pressure, but he stands tall, dropping a huge 200.0 in the free skate. When the dust settles, Team USA hits a total of 69 points, edging out Japan by a single point to take the team gold. Just like that, Alysa grabs her first Olympic gold, but there is no time for champagne, the real war. The women's singles event is just getting started. May 19th, 2026, the short program kicks off. Alysa is practically perfect out there. Crisp jumps, smooth spins, and artistry that's off the charts. She posts a 76.59, sitting temporarily in third, trailing the Japanese skater, and the gap is tight. But Alysa knows the free skate is where legends are made. Figure skating is brutal like that. You can lead the pack in the short, but one bad spill in the free skate and it all burns down. We've seen history repeat that tragedy too many times. May 20th, Judgment Day, Alysa skates third from last. She stands at the boards, closes her eyes, and takes a deep breath. 20 years of life flash by in her mind like a slow-motion movie. The 4:30 a.m. alarm clocks. Being 13 on the podium, the decision to retire at 17. Exhausted but free, the adrenaline rush of skiing down slopes during her break, 2 years of grinding for a comeback. It all comes down to this one moment. The music swells and she takes center ice, first jump, stuck it, second jump. Perfection, every movement is precise. Every glance hits right on the emotional beat. In that moment, she's not just an athlete, she's an artist leaving her soul out there on the ice. As the music hits its climax, she accelerates into her spins, rotating faster and faster, her dress a blur of motion. Sequins catch the arena lights before she hits her final pose. The music stops, and the crowd absolutely erupts. Alysa looks like a massive weight has been lifted. She beams, letting out that signature laugh of hers. Pure, unfiltered joy. Immediately, her eyes scan the stands for her family. A minute later, the board lights up, 226.79. It's gold for Alysa. That's a career high score, and the moment she has been chasing her entire life. From a 5-year-old lacing up skates to a 20-year-old standing on top of the Olympic podium. 15 years, over 5,000 days. The dream is finally real. But heavy weighs the crown. After Alysa takes the title, the whispers start. It's complicated, mostly because of her unique background. A Chinese heritage, an American passport, a father from Sichuan born via surrogacy. There are so many labels stacked on her that people get confused trying to put her in a box. Naturally, the comparisons to Eileen Gu started rolling in. On paper, they look pretty similar. Both have Chinese roots, both raised in the US by single parents, and both are absolutely dominant in their fields, but they took very different roads. Eileen Gu represented China and walked away with 2 golds and a silver in Beijing. Alysa stuck with Team USA and bagged 2 golds in Milan. That difference sparked a massive debate. Some folks claim Alysa is the real American, while labeling Eileen an opportunist. Others say the comparison is total garbage. Who an athlete competes for is a personal choice. If it follows the rules, nobody has the right to judge. Through all the noise, Alysa stays out of the drama. She just keeps grinding, skating, and letting the medals do the talking. When asked about her identity, she keeps it brief. I was born and raised in the US. My dad is from China and I am proud of that. But competing for the us, that was my choice. No dodging, no long essays, no arguments, just a calm confidence that shuts everyone up. After winning gold again, she credited her family. She skates for them. Her dad always told her she was the chosen one. That unconditional love gave her a rock-solid mindset. That's her secret weapon out there on the ice. Most athletes compete in fear. Scared of failing, scared of disappointing coaches, scared of fading away. Alysa's power comes from feeling safe. She knows win or lose. Back in Oakland, she's still the daughter her dad supports unconditionally, and the big sister her siblings adore. That's why when things go wrong, she doesn't crumble. She bounces back fast. She was taught from day one that skating is part of life, not her whole life. That mindset is exactly how she handled the pressure of sitting in third place. And it's how she pulled off that legendary comeback in the free skate. Usually, when athletes retire, they stay retired because they were terrified of tarnishing their legacy. But Alysa came back totally chill. That attitude made her lighter on the ice than ever before, of course. There's always the elephant in the room. What if the top Russian skaters had been allowed to compete? Could Alysa actually snatch the gold? That question set social media on fire with a furious debate. We all know the Russian squad was practically untouchable. Trusova was out there throwing down 5 quads in a single routine. Shotrebekova blended technical wizardry with pure art. And Valieva, she was practically an angel floating on the ice. They had such a stranglehold on the podium. Everyone else was just fighting for scraps and bronze medals. But international sanctions kept the Russian powerhouse out of these Olympics. And you can't rewrite history. As fans, we can play the what-if game or change the past. All that matters is the perfection Alysa put down on that ice. Dropping a score like that, it proves you're a champion, no matter who is standing in the other lane. Meanwhile, all eyes turn to her father, Liu Jun, at 63. He is still right there at the glass, tracking every single jump. Asked about his parenting, he claims, "I'm no tiger dad. I let her be free," but a reporter fired back. "A chill dad doesn't usually bring a radar gun to the rink, does he?" Liu just smirked, claiming he only does it to ensure her velocity stays smooth. But let's be real, he's been clocked holding speed traps, analyzing her edge work, and if the numbers didn't add up, the training intensity went through the roof. He's even been caught sneaking in the back door to spy on the coaching staff. If he didn't like the vibe, you out. Alysa's current coaches, yeah, he fired one of them before. The other got the sack 3 separate times but kept coming back. That just proves Alysa's talent is too good to walk away from. So don't let the nice guy act fool you. Liu is relentless. He just reinvented the Tiger Dad playbook. Instead of forcing her to bury her head in books, he went all in on where he saw a spark. Figure skating. Nearly $1 million invested. Over 10 years of grinding. The payout, an Olympic champion. From a business standpoint, that's a massive return on investment. But look deeper. And it's a masterclass in raising a winner. He never forced the issue. When Alysa decided to hang up her skates at 17, he didn't stand in her way. And when she wanted to stage a comeback 2 years later, no doubts, just total support when it mattered most. That is what a rock-solid father figure looks like. And that unconditional love paid off big time. After the medal ceremony, she didn't chase the cameras. Alysa bolted straight into the stands to the people who made her. When you grow up with that kind of love, you don't need the world to tell you special. You already know you the star. The Olympics are over, but Alysa is just getting started. She promised she isn't pulling a vanishing act this time. At 20, she has swept the major titles, but she has got plenty of years left to dominate that ice. When she took the podium, her family was right there screaming their lungs out. A unique family creating a unique destiny. It proves that families come in all shapes and sizes, but it's the quality of the love that writes the story. Alysa put it best, "My background is just a piece of the puzzle, not something I owe an explanation for." She doesn't hide who she is. She uses it as the canvas to paint her own masterpiece. Her birth certificate might have a blank space for mother, but her life has been anything but empty. And that is where we wrap this up. So what's your take on this champion's journey? Is it genetic lottery, a new evolution of a parenting, or just a generation brave enough to write their own rules? Sound off in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.